Could there actually be spirits? Past lives? Ghosts? Not according to the author of this book, a longtime skeptic who would be changed by the encounter with one specific patient who would change the course of his life. Hello again, everyone. It's another book review, another book talk. This time the book is going to be about Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian L. Weiss. Now this video is going to contain a brief synopsis of the book, my personal opinion, and then a rating at the very end of the video. For all of you who don't really like books, you guys have a good one. Anyway, to the matter at hand. This book is about a doctor, as I said, Brian L. Weiss. He was magna cum laude at Columbia University and graduated from Yale Medical School. He was a skeptic, he was a psychiatrist, and he always went through rigorous testing, and when it came to spiritual fluff or woo-woo, no thank you. However, he meets a specific patient, and of course, to keep the confidentiality, he named her Catherine. Now, Catherine was advised to come to him through another fellow doctor or fellow psychiatrist. And so Brian takes her into the office and he's talking to her about things. He works with her for a little bit, but there's not really any progress. Well, all of a sudden, she starts talking in another voice. He's like, is this multiple personality? What is this? But then she says that her name's Arandra. And then Brian asks more questions. Where are you at? What's going on? She said she was in the BC era, in ancient Egypt. And she starts describing all these random events. And at first he's like, what's going on here? And as he has more and more sessions, it's not just this character named Arandra. There are all these other personalities such as Christian and other personalities that were like servants that were coming out of her through these sessions. On one hand, he'd be talking to this character, and then after the hypnotherapy session, he'd be talking to Catherine herself. And he didn't share this with many people other than his wife, Carol. And for a while, he was still very skeptical. About the halfway point in the book, after he's listening to these different personalities, she tells him something that he'd never discussed with anybody other than his wife. Catherine told him that he had lost a son named Adam after 21 days, and that he had lost his father due to cardiac arrest. And he was like, that's true. How could she know something like that? She doesn't know his life. And that was the final thing he needed to break through the gates of skepticism and start to believe her. He even came across some different energies. One that called themselves the Master, that said that everybody was on the planet to learn at least one thing, that they had a karmic duty to clear that up. And as the chapters go on, he continues, and then eventually Catherine stopped seeing him because she'd done all this work. She'd gotten over her phobias, she got over her fear of choking, she got over all these things after going through all these hypnotherapy sessions and going through all these past lives that she apparently had. And after his experience with Catherine, he takes on other patients. In fact, he ended up working with a few thousand patients. And he started to believe that we all had a mission, we all had something spiritual about us, and that there's a lot more to this life in this world than science and medicine That is my brief, very brief synopsis of the book. As far as what I think of it personally, I've never had a spiritual experience. You can't come up to me and ask me like, "Hey, have you ever seen ghosts? Have you ever felt something? Have you ever encountered a past life?" And I personally have not. Not at all. I'm just more of a meditator, but I haven't encountered anything outside of my logical thinking brain. However, I do acknowledge that there's a whole lot I do not understand. So I think it's plausible. And I will say there is a case to be made if an MD was convinced of past lives, reincarnation, things of that sort. When those who are doctors or in that field, it's taboo to believe that stuff. You don't go that direction. And yet he was changed through it. Either there's something to be said about that, or it's the biggest marketing ploy I've ever seen. All right, because people love that sort of story where someone has one thought and then totally does a 180 and goes to the other side. That's true too. It was a good read. It's a good book. It's highly detailed, and it really does make me think about these things. As of right now, I can't say, yes, there is. Yes, there is. Other spirits, past lives, things like that. But it does let me think that we all have something to work on. All of our insecurities, all of our vices, they're ours to have, and we're welcome to them. And yet, we still have to work through them. So that's the biggest thing. Whether you're into this sort of thing or you're going to be a skeptic for life, we all have things to work on. We all have things to improve. We all have wisdom to acquire. And so if anything, the great takeaways and lessons from this book are about wisdom, are about patience, and are about growth. Now, of course, in the very beginning, I said I'm going to give this book a rating. I'd give this book an 8.5, potentially a 9 out of 10. It's very good, very thorough, a lot of great details about the past lives and the developing story between the author Brian and Catherine the patient. I will say that there are some details that pop up, such as Arandra, the first past life of Catherine the patient, where BC randomly pops up. I don't know if she actually said BC or what it was, or if it's an unclear detail, but I was a little skeptical about that. And there are a couple other little things that I felt like could have been fleshed out in greater detail, but overall, it's a great read. So again, everyone, that is my book talk, my book review for Many Lives, Many Masters. I hope you guys all enjoyed this. Feel free to comment. What could I do better? What did you not like about it? What did you like about it? I'm highly interested as I'm trying to get better and better at living the books and bringing the books to life for all of you. Thank you so much. You guys all have a good one.